Complete Insight Map. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen Covey, PHAZ 1. Paradigm Shift from Personality Ethic to Character Ethic. Starting situation context, Covey studied 200 years of success literature in America and discovered a fundamental shift. The first fundamental shift, until in 1920s, focused on character, integrity, humility, fidelity, courage. The last 50 years shifted to techniques, image, positive thinking, manipulative influence tactics. Insight 1.1, the personality ethic, is a band-aid, not a cure trigger. Covey and his wife faced a problem. Their son was struggling academically, socially immature, and every attempt to help through motivation, positive thinking, and techniques failed. Realization, surface-level influence techniques, positive attitudes, communication tricks only work short-term. If the foundation of character is weak, no technique will save you. Intermediate conclusion, you need to change not behavior, but the paradigm, how you see the problem. The way we see the problem is the problem. Insight 1.2 paradigms. Govern perception trigger. Experiment with the young woman, old woman picture. The same people see different things depending on prior conditioning. Realization. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. Our paradigms, mental maps, filter reality. Changing behavior is useless if the paradigm remains unchanged. Intermediate conclusion. Significant change starts with a paradigm shift, not a habit change. If you want small changes, work on your behavior. If you want significant quantum changes, work on your paradigms. Insight 1.3. Principles are not values. They are natural laws trigger. Analysis of why some approaches to success work for centuries while others don't. Realization. Objective principles exist. Fairness, integrity, honesty, human dignity. You hack it. Regardless of whether we are gravity, regardless of whether we agree with them. Values are subjective. Principles are objective. Intermediate conclusion. Effectiveness is built on aligning personal paradigms with universal principles. This is the character ethic. PHAC 2, the maturity continuum. From dependence to interdependence. Insight 2.1. 3 levels of personal maturity trigger. Observing how people progress through growth stages, from childlike dependence to adult self-reliance. Realization. A maturity continuum exists. Dependence, you take care of me. You're to blame for my problems. Independence is. I can do it myself. I'm responsible for me. Interdependence, we can combine our efforts and create more. Intermediate conclusion. Most people consider independence the pinnacle. But true effectiveness lies in interdependence. You can't skip steps. You must first become truly independent. Dependent people need others to get what they want. Independent people get what they want through their own effort. Interdependent people combine their efforts for greatest success. Insight 2.2, Habits 1.23. Private victory. Habits 4.26. Public victory. Habit 7. Training renewal trigger. Structuring the model. How to connect all habits into a unified system. Realization. Habits are arranged in a strict sequence. Habits 1, 2, 3. Proactivity, vision, priorities, dependence to independence to private victory. Habits 4 to 6. Win-win, understanding, synergy, DES, independence to interdependence, DES, public victory. Habit 7. DES, maintaining and renewing all others. Intermediate conclusion. Private victory precedes public victory. You cannot build effective relationships without first learning to manage yourself. Private victory precedes public victory. Insight 2.3. PPC balance. Production versus production capability. Trigger. Aesop's fable about the goose that laid golden eggs. The farmer killed the goose for all the eggs at once and was left with nothing. Realization. Effectiveness. Balance between P, production, golden eggs, and PC, production capability, the goose. Focusing only on results destroys the ability to produce them. Intermediate conclusion. Applies to everything. Health, relationships, finances, equipment. You can't extract maximum now while destroying the resource. PHA's 3. Private victory. Habits 1 to 3. Insight 3.1. Habit 1. Be proactive trigger. Viktor Frankl's example in the concentration camp. Everything was taken from him except one thing, the freedom to choose his response. Realization. Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space lies the freedom to choose. Proactivity is not aggressiveness. It's the conscious choice of response based on values, not circumstances or emotions. Intermediate conclusion. Reactive people are driven by weather, mood, circumstances. Proactive people are driven by their values and decisions. It's not what happens to us, but our response to what happens to us that hurts us. Insight 3.2. Circle of influence versus circle of concern. Trigger. Observing where people direct their energy toward what they can change or what's beyond their control. Realization. Everyone has a circle of concern, everything that worries them, and within it, a circle of influence, what they can actually affect. Proactive people focus on the circle of influence, and it expands. Reactive people focus on the circle of concern, and the circle of influence shrinks. Intermediate conclusion. Shift focus from what's being done to me to what can I do. Insight 3.3 Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Trigger. Thought experiment. Imagine your own funeral. What would you want to hear from family, colleagues, friends about the kind of person you were? Realization. All things are created twice. First mentally design, then physically execution. Living without a conscious end in mind means allowing other people and circumstances to write your life script. Intermediate conclusion. You need a personal mission statement, a life constitution by which all decisions are made. To begin with, the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. Insight 3.4 Thor, the center of your life, determines everything else. Trigger. Analysis of different centers around which people build their lives, family, money, work, pleasure, friends, enemies, church, spouse. Realization. Every center creates dependency and vulnerability. If your center is work, losing your job destroys your identity. If your center is your spouse, marital problems destroy everything. The only stable center is principles. Intermediate conclusion. A principle-centered life provides a stable foundation for decisions regardless of circumstances. Insight 3.5 Habit 3. Put first things. First trigger. If habit 2 is leadership, setting direction, then habit 3 is management execution. Realization. The time management matrix has two axes, urgency and importance. Quadrant 1, urgent plus. Important crises, unavoidable, but minimize. Quadrant 2, not urgent plus, important planning, relationships, growth. The key, Quadrant 3, urgent plus. Not important, others' priorities. The illusion of productivity, Quadrant Wafi, not urgent plus, not important. Time wasters. Intermediate conclusion. Effective people live in Quadrant 2. They don't manage time, they manage themselves. The more time in Quadrant 2, the fewer crises in Quadrant 1T. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Insight 3.6 The power of saying no. Trigger. Understanding that Quadrant 2 requires time currently spent on 3 NIV. Realization. The only way to free time for Quadrant 2 is to learn to say no to urgent but unimportant tasks. No to Quadrant 3 is yes to Quadrant 2. Intermediate conclusion. You need a big yes burning inside to easily say no to the secondary. PHAs 4. Public Victory Habits 4-6. Insight 4.1 The emotional bank account trigger. Transitioning from personal effectiveness to relationships. How do you build trust? Realization. Every relationship has an emotional bank account, a trust level. Deposits, keeping promises, kindness, loyalty, apologies, withdrawals, breaking promises, disrespect, betrayal. When the account is high, communication is easy, mistakes are forgiven. When low, every word is weighed. Intermediate conclusion. Before working on habits 4-6, ensure the emotional bank account with that person isn't empty. Insight 4.2 Habit 4. Think wins-win trigger. Analysis of typical interaction paradigms. Win-lose, lose-a-win, lose-a-lose, win. Realization. Win-in is not a technique. It's a total philosophy of interaction. It's the belief in a third alternative, a solution better for both, not a compromise. If win-win isn't possible, better no deal than agreeing to unfavorable terms. Intermediate conclusion. Win-win requires 3 character traits: integrity, faithfulness to values, maturity, balance of courage and consideration, abundance mentality, belief there's enough for everyone. An abundance mentality springs from a deep inner sense of personal worth and security. Insight 4.3 Abundance mentality versus Tash. Scarcity mentality trigger. Why do so many people find it hard to celebrate others' success? Realization. Scarcity mentality. The belief that the pie is limited. If someone got more, there's less for me. Abundance mentality. The belief that resources are sufficient for everyone and another's success doesn't diminish mine. Most people live in scarcity. Intermediate conclusion. Win-win is impossible without shifting from scarcity to abundance. This is deep inner work, not a negotiation technique. Insight 4.4 Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Trigger. Observing how people communicate, most listen not to understand but to reply, formulating arguments while the other person speaks. Realization. Empathic listening. Listening with the intent to understand the other person on all levels, content, emotion, motive. This is not active listening, a technique, but a genuine desire to see the world through the other person's eyes. Intermediate conclusion. Diagnose before you prescribe. Just as a doctor examines first and treats second, you must truly understand the other person's situation before offering solutions. If I were to summarize in one sentence the single most important principle I have learned in the field of interpersonal relations, it would be this: seek first to understand, then to be understood. Insight 4.5, 4 autobiographical responses trigger, analyzing exactly how people block communication. Realization: instead of empathic listening, people give 4 types of autobiographical responses. 1. Evaluate, agree or disagree. 2. Probe, ask questions from their own frame of reference. 3. Advise, prescriptions from their own experience. 4. Interpret, explain others' motives based on their own motives. Intermediate conclusion: all 4 block understanding. You must set aside your autobiography and enter the other person's world. Insight 4.6, Habit 6, Synergized Trigger. What happens when 2 people with win-sid-win and empathic listening skills work together? Realization: synergy. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. 1 + 1 2 3 or more. It's not compromise 1 + 1 2 5 and not mere cooperation 1 + 1 2 2. It's the creation of a third alternative, a solution neither side could have conceived alone. Intermediate conclusion: synergy is only possible through valuing differences. Differences are not a problem but a resource. The essence of synergy is to value differences, to respect them, build on strengths, compensate for weaknesses. Insight 4.7, Levels of communication trigger. Why do some teams achieve synergy while others don't? Realization: 3 levels of communication: defensive low trust, inguinication, defensive low trust, I win lose or lose-lose, quo, compromises, respectful, medium trust, tie polite but not open, potential untapped, synergistic high trust, tie openness, creativity, tie third alternative. Intermediate conclusion: the level of results is directly proportional to the level of trust and communication. PHAZ5, Reniwal Insight 5.1, Habit 7, Sharpen the saw trigger. The parable of the woodcutter sawing with a dull blade who won't stop because I'm too busy sawing. Realization: Habit 7 is the regular renewal of 4 life dimensions: physical, exercise, nutrition, sleep, stress management, spiritual, meditation, values, nature, art, mental, reading, writing, planning, learning, social emotional, service, empathy, synergy. Intermediate conclusion: this is PC. Activity: caring for the goose. 1 hour daily on renewal is an investment that imtroffer, sove, affer. Habit 7 is the habit that makes all the other habits possible. Insight 5.2, The upward spiral trigger. How to connect all 7 habits into a continuous process. Realization: growth is not a line but an upward spiral. Learn, commit, do W, learn, commit W, learn, commit, learn, commit WW, learn, commit W. Level of understanding of the same habits. The 7 habits are not a checklist to complete. They are a lifelong process of deepening. And tier connections. And hierarchy level 1, foundational principles. Principles are objective. Effectiveness is built on alignment with them. Paradigms govern perception. Paradigm shift precedes behavior change. Private victory precedes behavior change. Private victory precedes public victory. Level 2, operational principles. Protect the resource, not just the result. Quadrant 2, focus on important but not urgent. Empathic listening, diagnose before you prescribe. Differences are a resource for synergy, not a problem. Level 3, management principles. Emotional, bank, account. The foundation of any relation, sex you, ass you, abundance, mentality, love, shift from reactivity to proactivity, control over responses. 2, clear personal mission, a compass for all decisions. 3, living in quadrant 2, fewer crises, more growth interpersonal. 1, high emotional bank account, strong relationships. 2, win-win solutions instead of conflicts. 3, deep understanding of others through empathic listening. 4, synergy, results impossible to achieve alone. Organizational. 1, teams operating at the synergy level. 2, culture of trust and openness. 3, sustainable growth instead of burnout. PPPC balance, KE way. Lessons for application 1. Start with a paradigm. If results are unsatisfying, the problem isn't techniques but how you see the situation. 2, proactivity is the foundation of everything. Between stimulus and response, there is a space of choice. Use it. 3, write a personal mission statement. Without a conscious direction, you're following someone else's script. 4, live in quadrant 2. Important but not urgent determines life quality. 5, private victory before public victory. Don't try to build relationships before learning to manage yourself. 6, make deposits in the emotional bank account. Trust is built by small deposits destroyed by a single withdrawal. 7, win-win or no deal. Don't agree to terms that damage relationships long-term. 8, seek first to understand. Set aside your story and truly hear the other person. 9, value differences. They are the source of synergy, not a problem. 10. Sharpen the saw daily. 1 hour of renewal makes the other 23 hours more effective. 11. Remember the PPPC balance. Don't kill the goose for the golden eggs. 12. Growth is a spiral, not a checklist. Return to the habits again and again, deeper each time.